Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Essop's E-Lessons. Today we're looking at the poem Remember. This poem is by Christina Rossetti. She was a British poet and this was written in the 1800s. If you find these videos helpful, please hit like and subscribe. So let's start off with the title. It's a single word, the word remember. It's basically a plea not to be forgotten. So what does the speaker want someone to remember? Well, if you've read the poem, you know that the speaker is thinking about death and doesn't want to be forgotten by her beloved. This is a very profound poem about death, so it's interesting to note that the poet was merely a teenager when she wrote it. This poem is written as a sonnet and as such is in one stanza, but I'm going to break it up for our analysis. So let's start off with the first line. It says, "Remember me." So we see that the title and the very first line provide a command to her beloved. It says, "Remember me when I'm gone." Where's she going? Gone far away. So we see here a euphemism for death. So remember that a euphemism is a polite way of saying something harsh. So here the euphemism for death is to say gone far away, into the silent land. And here we see once again another euphemism for the afterlife. And why is it a silent land? Because the dead cannot communicate with the living. We should also note that these euphemisms are metaphors. So death is compared to going far away and the afterlife is compared to a silent land. From the first two lines, we see that the speaker knows that she will die. It's important to differentiate here between the speaker and the poet. The poet went on to live a long life, while the speaker in this case knows that she will die and does not want her beloved to forget her. In line 3, she says, "When you can no more hold me by the hand." This act of holding someone's hand symbolizes their physical relationship. It shows that they will not be able to physically be near one another any longer. "Nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay." So we see line 3 and 4 are referring to moments that they've shared where they've held each other's hands, and in line 4 where it's time for her to leave, she's hesitant to leave and would rather stay by his side. And this shows her attitude towards death. She doesn't want to leave, but she's forced to. Moving on to line 5, it says, "Remember me when no more day by day." And day by day here highlights the amount of time they spent together, that they were with each other all the time, that they never wanted to be apart. In line 6, she says, "You tell me of our future that you planned." Now the pronouns you and our tell us that the speaker is addressing her beloved directly. So perhaps this is in a letter after her death. But line 5 and 6 tell us that they can no longer plan a future together because she will soon die. In line 7, she says, "Only remember me." So we see repetition here of the word remember, and this highlights the speaker's concern that she'll be forgotten. Because she knows that she's going to die, it's as though she wants to live on in his memory. She says it will be late to counsel then or pray. So to counsel means to get advice, and prayer obviously means to seek divine guidance or intervention. And this is pointing out that the speaker knows that nothing is going to make her return from the dead. Nothing can bring her back to life. This poem takes on the structure of a Petrarchan sonnet, and as such we see that the octave looks back. It focuses on memories, on the pain of being apart, and the speaker's need to be remembered. The tone of the first 8 lines is very urgent and fearful. If we move on to the sestet, it starts with the word yet. And this word yet indicates the volta. It shows us that the tone is about to change. She says, "Yet if you should forget me for a while and afterwards remember, do not grieve." So now we see a sudden change where she doesn't expect her beloved to always be thinking of her. The colon tells us the explanation will follow. "For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thought that I once had." The darkness represents her sadness, knowing that she will soon die, and corruption refers to her disease that is killing her. If we look at line 12, the word vestige means a trace of something. And the thought that I once had represents her rationality, her mind. So basically line 11 and 12 are saying that if her disease allows her to keep her mind, she knows what the right decision to make would be. And that decision is in the last 2 lines. We see it says, "Better by far you should forget and smile than you should remember and be sad." So to forget and smile means that she would rather be forgotten if this would allow her beloved to be happy, rather than be remembered and leave him heartbroken. So we see by the end of the poem, the speaker chooses to be selfless. She would rather be forgotten. This is quite ironic because the last 2 lines provide a direct contrast to the title, which demanded to be remembered. So in the sestet, we see that she stops looking back and starts looking forward. The tone changes as the speaker becomes calm, rational, and quite accepting of her fate. So we see that it's 14 lines. This poem takes on the structure of a Petrarchan sonnet. It contains a volta. In line 9, we see the shift in mood or the change in argument. And the word volta is the Italian word for turn. So it's telling you that there will be a change in the tone or in the argument that is being made. We also see that this poem borrows from Shakespearean sonnets in that it employs iambic pentameter. So the fact that a teenager could create such a complex poem with such a complex structure is quite impressive. If we look at the theme, this is essentially an elegy, right? Remember that an elegy remembers a loved one after they've passed away. This poem also contemplates death and the afterlife and the inability to communicate with our loved ones once we are there. Remembrance is also a strong theme here, how those we've lost can live on through our memories. But ultimately, it points out that those who are alive should continue to enjoy their lives. So you should remember the dead, but live your life. Thanks for watching. Please click subscribe, like and share, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook.